Good morning, disciples. This is Christopher Owasanya coming to you from New Jersey. So we've done chapter 1, the beginning, how I got into business for myself. Then we did chapter 2, pivot, which was how I went from being still a power company, but one that did waste to energy, to one that does solar. I also covered how I funded the first. Actually, we did 5 installations when we did our first set of installations, how I funded that. And today, I'm going to talk about our challenge, our first major challenge, and that was shipping from China to Nigeria and getting delivery to us. So, being relatively new and not being familiar with how Nigeria does business, and it's a good thing, we went in blind and we put our trust, we trusted that the agents, the shipping and clearing agents we'll do business with will be honest people. And you come to realize that is not always true. You run into people who want to eat as much as they can in one meal instead of spreading it out over multiple meals. And I could understand the mindset. They don't get business often enough, so when they get it, they want to feast instead of treating it as an annuity. They treat it as a lump sum distribution, which they ultimately blow in one time, and they kill subsequent relationships. So we finally collected enough funds. We made our purchase from a company called Foshan Tamfon in Foshan, China, and they gave us a timeline for when our product will be manufactured and then when we can pick up and get it delivered to us in Nigeria. Being a new company, we had not even registered ourselves in Nigeria at the time, so we didn't have a tax ID number. We couldn't go through the formal processes. We didn't even have a bank account in Nigeria at that time. So we couldn't go through the formal processes of filing a Form M, which I didn't even know about. I found out about later. Or any other requirements like you have to go through the Standard Organization of Nigeria or whatever it's called to get the product approved for import. Did not do any of those. All I did was I purchased. It's like I bought the cart and I didn't have the horse. Then eventually I had to go find a horse to come and pull the cart. The product eventually got manufactured, the shipping agent claimed he picked it up, and then the wait began. So from about January, February, I went to Nigeria, and then I went to Nigeria in May because we've been told he'll be there in May. And I just stayed in Nigeria till they arrived sometime in June. The plan was to come in May, spend a week doing installations. That did not work. My wife came with me, Suzette, and she eventually went back. The plan was that I would return also within a week of her going back. That didn't happen. I kept changing my plane ticket, which is why now I do a one-way ticket to Nigeria. I do a round trip which originates in Nigeria and then ends in Nigeria because I had no clue what's going to happen when I arrived there. But I spent over $1,000 changing my plane ticket. It was $250 each time I changed it, and I must have changed it like 4 or 5 times. Anyway, to make a long story short, eventually the day comes and the product arrives in Nigeria. And then now he's telling us how much money we are going to spend to clear it. Which, for whatever reason, because we trusted him, he came from a reliable source, a sibling, it never dawned on us to ask him what it's going to cost us. And when he gave us those numbers, it just blew our mind. I remember calling him every name in the book and I was ready to strangle and kill him. But at the end of the day, no matter how much I wanted to strangle and kill him, he had my product. My customers needed those products. So eventually, what did I do? I rolled over and I wrote a check for whatever the amount was we paid. And then a week or 2 after we paid him, the product eventually arrived at the compound in Nigeria. So I remember it was like 11 o'clock at night when he came in and I was like delirious. I had forgotten all the pain that I had gone through with this shipping guy. It's like, think about a mother who is in labor. And I watched my wife go through all 3 and I could see the pain she goes through And then the minute the baby comes out and she holds the baby, that pain goes away. It's like she doesn't feel, I remember they were stitching her. She wasn't feeling it because she was holding that baby. And that's how I felt the night his delivery vehicle drove through the gate at about 10, 11 o'clock at night in Lagos. And we started to unload these big boxes that had our company name on it. So, and I should stop saying so and. I'll try very hard. That's how we got to the point of delivery. So what lessons did I learn? One, pick a travel agent, get your written costs up front, and I made this mistake 3 times, and then know what guarantees and what promises they're making you. And even that in itself does not guarantee anything, but at least you have something to plan with. Number 2, it helps to be registered in Nigeria. And even if we've been registered in Nigeria, because we get to do any taxes, there's a possibility we'd have had to go through an agent anyway. So make sure you go through an agent that has the ability to file the required custom and tax forms in the country you're doing business in. And finally, no matter how much you want to kill them, once you get what you paid for, you completely forget it, and then you're dealing with a totally new experience. So if you like what I have to say, please give us a thumbs up. If you're yet to subscribe, please click the subscribe link. It's either here or it's here, but wherever it is, click on subscribe. And then finally, share this with your friends. We are trying to share experiences that we've lived, and hopefully it'll help you avoid some of the pitfalls that we had to go through during this process. And I put up a quote of the day 2 days ago. Let me see if I can find, well, I'm not going to find it. I should put it up before I started doing this. I do my videos on the fly, so it's not pre-planned. So as the idea pops into my head, I share it with you. But there is a quote by Les Brown, and if you go on my blog, I'll put a link to the blog below. It says, "The cemetery is the richest place on earth." Let me look for the quote. And it says it's there that you find many books that were never written, many patents that were never filed. I'm just reading this off the top of my head as I wait for it to come up on my screen. And I think when I think about the process that it took for me to go into business, I also recognize that I did not take a lot of time to think this through. I woke up one day and I wanted to do something, and then I started doing it. So here we go. The graveyard is the richest place on earth. As the screen loads, bear with me. The graveyard is the richest place on earth because it is here that you will find all the hopes and dreams that were never fulfilled, the books that were never written, the songs that were never sung, the inventions that were never shared, the cures that were never discovered, all because someone was too afraid to take the first steps. Keep with the problem or determined to carry out their dream. And this is a quote by Les Brown. So I, for whatever reason, did not think about what couldn't be. I just went head first, and I have been doing it ever since. And yes, there are pluses and minuses, and I'll share what they are. But if you never get up and try to do it, you'll never know if you're going to succeed or not. So thank you once more for tuning in and letting me share my journey and my experiences with you. Once again, this is Christopher Onwasanya coming to you from New Jersey. This week I'll do 2 more videos, and then the next set of videos I do will be from either Lagos or Port Harcourt. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.